Hello, New York City. It's Heidi from Brooklyn, and we are on chapter 5. Very excited because this is my favorite part of the process because I love to go and look at properties. I love it all. I love to look at the way people decorate or stage. I love to look at the different floor plans. I love to look at the different buildings, and I love it all. But anyway, back to you. So at this point in the process, you want to get your pre-approval. This is not the same as the pre-qualification that we talked about in chapter 2. And you do not have to go with the lender that gave you the pre-qual. You should contact many lenders so that you can get your best possible deal and terms. The documents that you need to do the pre-approval, so it's a little more intense and you actually have to provide these documents. They will usually give you a financial sheet and all of the items that they are looking for. Typically they want proof of income, whether it's the W-2, 1099s, employment history, your asset statement, so your banking and retirement and brokerage accounts, a list of your monthly debts and liabilities, and records of rent payments and tax records. So while that's in progress, I will take the criteria that we talked about in chapter 1 and pull all the properties from the MLS, which stands for Multiple Listings Service. And that is where all of the agents, when they list a property, put the information in. So I'll pull properties from there. I will send you options that fit your criteria. And then you pick the ones that you are interested in and any others that you may have found online that I had not seen, because maybe it didn't fit one of your criteria, but you were interested to see it anyway. You let me know your schedule, and then I will go and contact all the listing agents to the properties that you're interested in, and I will schedule them out, and we will go looking. I will give you information on the buildings themselves, the street, the general neighborhood, just so you know in advance if there's anything that, if any red flags that I find, we can discuss those before we can go look. Before we go, I've done research on the building and I can let you know what I found about the building, the street, the neighborhood, and things that you might want to consider, like there might be a low listing price, but the common charges might be really high, and that is why they've tried to offset that. I will point out other things to consider, like if it's an HDFC property, which means that some of the buildings, you have to have a certain income requirement to be able to purchase, meaning you can't make over a certain amount of money. And this is to kind of rehab certain areas. I will let you know ahead of time. And to also seeing if there is an abatement on the property that you're interested in. There are different types of abatements, and different ones last for different periods of time. So I will just get all the information on that so that you can be aware if there is one in place, and or you having the ability to apply for one. And I can discuss the different tax abatements with you if you are interested in that. And then things like if it has a gas stove. There is the local law 97 I mentioned in one of the other chapters, which is trying to reduce our carbon footprint. If you are looking at a building that has over 25,000 square feet, then that building will be affected by needing to comply with getting rid of the gas features like gas stove by the year 2024, which is next year, and others that they're kind of staggering the compliance to that to 2030, which still short period of time. Anyway, so if that is the case, I will flag that to you so that you know the common charges or maintenance would be affected by that because that's a capital improvement. And then other things that to be aware of, like the zoning, there is R6B zoning designations in different neighborhoods, and it's like primarily residential. It will, keep high rises from being in the neighborhood. So if you're somebody who wants to buy a single family home or, small multifamily home, and you don't want to live in a neighborhood that has high rises, you'll be wanting to look in those areas. So I will give you a property checklist for each property we go to so that you can fill in, what you liked and didn't like, the condition, any notes that you have, and, pros and cons, whatever you want to put on this checklist. But just things so that you, as you're walking through, these are the things to think about. I will arm you with certain questions to ask, or if you want, I can ask them for you. But things that they don't put in the listing, which are things like, and it will vary by property type because some things in houses don't apply to condos and vice versa. But things like, what are the building's finances? So if it's not a single family home or multi, condo or co-op, you would ask basically what the building's finances are like. Do they have cash reserves? Is it a healthy cash reserve that they've collected over time? They like to have a little healthy surplus there so that if capital improvements come up, like you need a new roof, that type of thing, that they can just pay for it outright instead of having to come and do an assessment that would make your monthlies go up because it's an item that they didn't prepare for. So you just want to ask, if it's a property that you are interested in buying, you eventually will be able to look at the actual finances. But until then, it's just always nice to know. And usually most homeowners know if their building is in a good state or not. And if they're aware of any assessments that are coming up, one of them might be because of the local law 97, where they have to have everybody switch out their gas. And you can ask things like, and this is for all properties, what is the age of the roof? Do you know the age of, the electric, plumbing, the boiler, hot water heater? So you want to ask about the age of different aspects of the building, especially in some of these pre-war buildings. Good to know if the electric has been updated to be up to code. And especially if you're buying a single family home or a multifamily, you would love to know all of those things, because if they're not up to date, then you need to have it actually updated to code before they will give you a CO, a certificate of occupancy, which would mean, like, if you bought it and until the electric was updated, no one would be legally allowed to live in it until there is a certificate of occupancy and they have done an inspection on your updated electric. Same goes for, electric, the pipes, the plumbing, your hot water heater or boiler. And if you are doing a multifamily property as well, you would want to ask if there's separate meters for each unit so that you are not having to take a electric bill and divvy it up, because who knows who used what. So that's something to definitely see if that already exists. The other thing to ask for co-ops, what are their rules around sublets? Some will let you sublet, but then have to move back in. Some don't let you sublet at all. So it's always a good question to ask, as well as if you are looking at a co-op unit that needs renovations, to find out what the building's rules are around renovations. Some are very strict, especially when it comes to structural. And if you want something like washer and dryer in the unit, and there's not one, if one is allowed to be installed. So after all that, we can sit down, or you want to sit down on your own and go through all your checklists to see which one really resonated with you the most, has the most number of pros versus cons, fits your lifestyle, all those things. I usually find that there are three types of people. Some people, when they walk in a place, they just know this is it. This is it. Some people walk into a place and they say, I could see myself living here. So we'll keep this one on the list. And then there are the people who are just do it by the numbers. And I suppose that also depends on your goals and your preferences, because if you are looking for a property that is an investment property and you would live in it for 2 years and then move out and rent it out, then you may be more logistical about it. So a lot to think about, a lot to ask. And then once you have all of the information that you need, and there is one or maybe more than one you want to make an offer on, that's chapter 6. That's the next chapter, and I will go over all the ins and outs of making an offer. Until next time, bye.